Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the Council for Maintenance podcast. If this is your first time joining us, we're a show that takes a behind-the-scenes look into the gritty, non-glamorous life of aircraft maintenance. We share laughs, impart some wisdom, all in hopes of giving you that split seconds relief in your day that can hopefully prevent a mishap. I am your co-host, Six.
I'm MBP.
And our third man, Shoreline, is silently in the back, twiddling knobs, making sure our faces stay fit for radio. It's been a while.
I got to tell you, it's fun to watch you do the opening words in person now. We're actually face to face, everybody. This go around for finally. It's been a long time, but it's fun to watch you do it in real time. So now I know what you're doing. Now I know what you're doing when we're apart. It's fun.
Well, what's funny is I fidget at different things at different times. Right now, it's these knobs right here for the mic because it's so close to my face. But other times I have like this fidget cube or just something I'm like off mic fucking around with. And this is where Shoreline kind of hates me because he would hear it.
Really?
In the edit, like, stop messing around with your water bottle.
It was funny when you were talking about Shoreline being in the background twiddling knobs, and you were actually twiddling knobs.
Yeah, it's me. I'm the one. But hey, welcome back, everybody. It's been a while, and we've been silent for some time. I can say. Life happens, as we've said an episode or two ago. Things have been pretty hectic, and it's calmed down to the point where we can actually record for in person this time. But
we say it's calmed down enough. We planned this like a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how life's been. Like we gotta plan this way in advance so we can actually make sure our schedules are clear up, move things around, so we can sit down face to face.
Right, and the nice part is we kind of came together because we were collaborating with another show, Vertical MRO or Vertical Helicast podcast. So if you guys haven't seen or heard of them, check them out. Catch the episode with us. And it's been motivational, so to speak, to have another show come and approach us. I was like, hey, we heard about your show. You guys want to come on? Like, yes.
Yeah, great conversation. All they said they listened to a few of our episodes and they resonated with the message we were sending and thought it would be, worthwhile sitting down and expanding on those topics of conversation. And we did. And what was really good conversation, just knowing, understanding that no matter where we are in this country or other countries, but in the industry, we're all, going through the same level of workloads, experiencing the same issues, but all of us, here's the great part of it. All of us are working on resolutions to try to improve those things for each of us.
Well, most definitely. And it's also been really motivational to actually be heard, right? Like, there's times when we do this show, and I'm sure other people out there have felt this, where you just feel like you're shouting into a black hole, where you put a message out there and it just falls on deaf ears. And we've actually said this a bunch of times in a couple episodes where mechanics don't speak up because no one cares, So for us getting approached and actually being acknowledged for the stuff that we do and for the stuff that everyone else out there does, it's, how do you call it? Validating, right?
Yeah.
And it's so about touching a little bit briefly on that one, being able to converse and network with other people, especially ones who have been in as long as we have, it's a surreal experience because a lot of shows or a lot of influencers, so to speak, right? I hate using that word, but they come in guns blazing, hitting the ground running, and then at some point they just kind of run out of gas.
Yeah, OBE maybe even overcome by events, work schedule picks up, or they start a family, or a multitude of reasons.
Right, and we're guilty of this too because
for sure.
OBE happens to us, and and those of you who have seen it, we've kind of dialed back quite a lot with our episodes.
And I'll admit that's mostly because of me.
You're not the only one, myself included, like just having to readjust our work priorities and whatnot. And in order to make those work, certain things have to fall to the wayside. Family picks up and they have their priorities too. So, it starts to lean out the stuff that we can and can't do. So for those of you who've been with us for some time, I appreciate your patience. And for those of you joining, hopefully, you guys get something from this. With that said, there's even though we've been absent for some time, we've still get some feedback um, for the show. And one of the things that people been asking us is about training, like the differences in training from one place to another. And MVP and I, we've been in a bunch of different places that touches all kinds of different platforms and experiences and methods, air quotes methods, that they do. And one of the things that one place says they do that some don't do as well is training. Most places that I've seen, for one, do a lot of what's called computer-based training, or like they'll stick you in front of a screen, you watch a video or something like that, and then call that air quotes training.
Yeah, and for like eye wash training, fire extinguisher, slip fall protection. What's the other ones? Different environmental factors, within your area. Faux FOD training, right? It's another big one. You watch a video and then you take a test at the end, or some of them don't have a test at the end, depending on what it is. But most of them have like a 10 to 20 question quiz at the end to see if you retained what you understood. I've noticed recently with CBTs, they've changed it up where you can't just speed click through them anymore and then just get to the quiz and take the quiz. They have now interjected, well, it's a time thing, right? So it's an AI kind of reading it to you. And then after so many seconds, it'll highlight the button to say next, and you can move on. Usually once it's done reading.
Right.
And then after each individual module, let's say you're learning about the different types of fire extinguishers. After you learn about Class A, and then you're going to Class K or whatever, at Class A, you have to quiz on Class A before you can move on to the next one. So it's like 3 questions, and then you move on. And then at the end, you still have to take a full-on test.
Right. And I think for those areas, well, and the other one I've seen is also the sign and go, right? Or sign then go. Like,
like you're aware.
Yeah, like talk to somebody tells you, they sign you off, which I understand the intent, but most cases it's just a pencil whip. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
right?
it's never, that's the only time it's really used, is like, we're like, hey, we got this last minute thing. Well, nobody's had training on that. Oh, okay. Let me type something up here in Word. Fire is bad. Faux FOD is bad. You've been briefed that both are bad. Sign here acknowledging that you recognize these are bad. Okay, great. You've been trained. Off you go. And you're like, but how do I fight the fire? You've been trained.
Right. and this kind of brings me up to the last time we were at a Verticon, where it was High Healy at the time, where one of the speakers was talking about trained versus educated. I think that was the topic.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. It was kind of like, well, I showed you the video, so you should know, right? So air quotes, you are trained, right? Versus educated, or I forget the word he actually said, but it's like the knowledge has been absorbed. You understand it. You've been given different situations where it could apply, and so on and so forth. The problem with those, and I think that's why we experience the things we are with the sign then go or the CBT, is because it's time, right? Time equals money equals I don't have the money for that. Ergo, it's a sign and go, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you got a hangar full of 50 maintainers, right? You can't take all 50 of them offline for half a day or a full day or 3 days or whatever the training consists of. It's just not feasible. The business can't operate that way. So, you can say, well, you can do it in stages. Okay. But then that's multiple days in a row of not running at full staff, and whoever's conducting the training, that's them taking time away from whatever else they're doing,
right,
for 4 days.
And then also depending on the subject too, right? Like you can only beat a dead horse so many times, right? Like I know what faux is, I know what hazmat is, I know what paint is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So for one of those like low energy or low, like you're exposed to it so much that you kind of osmosis it by default, right? And
yeah, I know what you're saying.
right.
It's no new material. It's you were taught it in A&P school, and then it's been beaten into your brain every year with annual training since.
Right. And that's kind of like the gas brake balance that we have to kind of sort of figure out, like what is actually a deficiency in knowledge versus what's something that you just kind of have to check the box to get you back on the job, right? And there's some places that do it better than most, and certain training that they emphasize that doesn't need so much energy as it should.
Yeah.
And then others like they're seriously lacking, and they kind of just speed you through it. Example I've seen is like composite layups, where like some guy kind of just gives you a demonstration and like, all right, you're trained, or they give you like this very controlled scenario where like this will happen once in a while,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
right? Like you would never find a gash this big or something like that, right? Or you will never have an opportunity to take the panel off to do this or something like that, right? But
Yeah, they're saying, well, it's not your particular job to do composite layups, so you just need this brief overview, and you're like, yeah, but I mean, if we're here, I might as well learn something. Well, but it's not your primary responsibility. Then why am I here at all? Then
right.
It's so then it turns out, well, everybody has to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then it's just CYA at this point, it's just
right. And I think that's like something that a leadership has to really assess. Like, okay, what's low energy? That it's just like it's one of those like statutory things, like we have to do this, but everyone kind of has the gist of what's going on versus what's really a gap in knowledge and how do we fix that. And as we've seen it from our quality experiences, where like whenever a defect or an issue happens, the first thing they lean to is, lack of training or lack of awareness, lack of this, lack of that, right? And then they say, what's the fix? Well, training's got to fix it. What does training have to do with it? It's your field.
Right, yeah. Well, training made brighter slides.
Right.
And we used more positive language. What? Okay.
Yeah. So for that, I think that's like the gas brake balance, where like we have to kind of figure out like are we actually deficient in and how do we address it. I mean, there's creative ways to do it, like what MVP was saying with the interactive computer-based training. There's the actual like let's take you offline and kind of spool you up in that area. I really don't have like a strong answer for this because it kind of really just depends, right? Like what's actually the problem and who's available to bridge the gap, right?
Yeah. Well, and then some places require like certified instructors, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're also limited by how many certified instructors you have available at the time. And sorry to cut you off. I'll use an example we're currently going through where I work at. Universal Inspector.
Mm-hmm.
I think you probably remember this from your stint over there as well.
Mm-hmm. Did
you go through Universal Inspector training while you were there?
Air quotes, yes.
Okay, what was your version of that?
They just gave me like a shotgun list of stuff. Like, this is what composite. What's it called? The I keep want to say ligaments, but it's not ligaments. Filaments.
Yeah.
Filaments, you know what I mean? Like filaments and layups and fibers and all this. It goes this direction. It's supposed to look like this. Like, okay, cool, but when do I see that, right?
Right, and that's just one part of that training, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let alone like if you're looking at engine components or landing gear or even forms, right? Mm-hmm. Forms inspections and how to fill those out. So it was a brief overview, right?
Right.
So mine was they took the existing slide deck, I'm sure that you saw,
mm-hmm.
printed them, say read this on your own time, and when you're done reading it, come back to me. All right, I read it. Okay, you're signed off. You're now
wow.
That's exactly what it was, right? And which is kind of wild. I mean, the good news is that I have at least experience from other places that I can lean on for that stuff, but every place kind of does things a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the composite plies, some places lay them up in a triangle pattern, or
mm-hmm.
a pyramid pattern where the largest ply goes down first, and others teach it where the smallest one, and then it's an upside down pyramid, and you do the smallest one and then build out the repair from there.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of people right now is one's better than the other, and I hear your argument. I feel the same way, but that's the reality of the situation.
Right.
Anyhow, again, we're just, pencil whipping people through here. So now fast forward a few years, we've got new people coming in, and the subject of, and we've been taken on by another division in a merger, and they're like, well, all your people need to have this. okay, well, most of us do have it, but there's a few new people who haven't gone through the training, so we'll get them signed up for that. So we're one, struggling to find an instructor, and two, we're the discussion over how long this training's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, actually, Quality is the owner of this training, this universal inspector. A couple of years ago, I guess, whatever division said, no, we're in fact the owners of this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. But they have their own certified instructors to teach that course. My program doesn't have any quality people with certified instructor training.
Right.
So that's a problem in itself. But we do have a guy in our program who is a certified instructor and was quality like 25 years ago. He's been with the company a long time, but he was quality like 25 years ago. So he's like, but he's willing to teach. He's like, yeah, I got no problem. I'll teach it. We're like, great. He's like, so they're like, when's your availability? He's like, well, I'm available these weeks, and it's a 4-day long course, full days. And everybody's like, wait a minute, I'm going to lose my people for an entire week. And he's like, well, yeah, to officially go through all this stuff and to teach you along the way and to ensure that you understand the material that I have to buy you off on at the end of that training. I have to put my name to that you've been trained. I need to go through this full course. And, you know, the other management and stuff, and even their own boss who in training are like, well, we were thinking it would just be like a couple hour long thing and half a day. And then, you know, you kind of give them a brief overview and everybody moves on with their life. And because they're basing it off of the training that they went through.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and I had to remind them like, hey, look, all the training we went through was pencil whipped, Jack. Okay. Like you shouldn't be going out there and signing crap off just because you got the UI.
Right.
Apparently they are. But anyways, so this instructor is like, if you want me to teach this course, it will be 4 days long. We will cover these topics. We will go over these things. You will be tested on this. And once you pass those things and I feel comfortable that you understand the material, then I will go and buy you off. And then you'll be Universal Inspector certified in the official company database. So no matter where program you go, move around internal to the company, you have that Universal Inspector training, right? That's part of your record. However, if you want just a 4-day, 4-hour long course or whatever, a half a day, I can do that well. We will just go over the material. We'll go over the slides, and then you have your Gen Fam, but I'm not buying you off in the system. So you don't really have the certification training anyways. You just got a Gen Fam of what it is.
Right.
And so they're leaning towards like, that's fine. I mean, it's only internal to the program anyways. And we're like, it's not though.
Yeah.
It should be company wide, but we're just, again, so he's white. He come to me and he goes, hey man, I'm wiping my hands up. I'm not going to get involved. And I said, no, I don't blame you. If I'm the one that has to sign people off, then I'm going to make sure it's done right. So now they're back into finding another instructor. And I think they found one who says, yeah, I can come in and do a half-day course on this and get everybody bought off. Long story short, a business will find a way to overcome whether they should or should not.
Right.
In this instance, but it sounds like they'll probably get what they want in the end. But also I'm telling everybody, I'm like, okay, well, the only thing we're saving here is time so we can get these guys back on the floor, but we're not really gaining anything because they're not going to have the same level of experience as they should or the same level of knowledge. So why don't we just invest the time now, fully train them, fully sign them off in the system? Because if something goes wrong and they say, well, who bought this off? And they're going to go, oh, Inspector so-and-so. Okay, let's see his credentials. Well, he doesn't have UI and he's required to have UI. Right. Well, why is he buying this off? Hang him, Right. That's what it's going to turn into.
And that's the default, right? Like, it's going to be, well, who did this? Who was their training? Or who did their training? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everything sounds nice and dandy until some incident happens. And then now the 51 questions come out and then they start poking holes in their own cheese, right? And this is a good segue into what I've been seeing in the past couple of years, aviation-wise, is this whole notion of going faster. Not just faster airplane speed wise, but faster in like everything. We want our parts faster. We want our maintenance done faster. We want our pilots. We want the training pipeline to be faster, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In some instances, it makes sense. Like say for aircraft mechanics getting their actual A&P cert, like from student to licensed, there's been like this big gap in their certification process. Like they get the training done fine, but to get them to get tested, it takes weeks, if not months, or they have to go somewhere else that's well and away from them. I'm like, hey, thanks for your money to pay for the school, but you have to go get the test on your own dime somewhere else. Right.
Right. Yeah. Which is like, well, what was the point of coming to the school?
Right. And they're like, this was the case, I should have just bought the books and studied my own damn self and just roll the dice on the testing. Right. So for that kind of instance, I understand. And truth be told, like, it doesn't make sense to me why you would pay the school to take the training and then not test out there. So I think that's something that they're trying to work out with the powers that be. Like, hey, we're licensed. Just give us the stamp, and then we can invest in our students here. And then once they're done, we just test them, stamp them, and off they go.
It's almost like a restaurant calling themselves a bar and grill, but never getting the liquor license.
Right.
You're like, okay, yeah, you're serving food and all that, but people also want to come here and get a drink because it's bar and grill, but you never got your liquor license, so you can't sell us alcohol. Well, why the hell did I come here?
Right.
You know, I could have just went to the other restaurant across the street and got both in the same location. So I got to eat here and go over there to get a...
Right.
Like that's ridiculous.
Right.
Know?
And for that kind of gap closure, I 100% understand. My issue with this whole speed thing, I think one of the terms I've heard recently is speed to ramp, is we try to lean things out where we just crunch down the wait time between any type of operation, be it maintenance to ramp or ramp to flight or flight to flight, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I think some places call it mission readiness or whatever.
Like right, that. And there's all kind of operational readiness, flight efficiency, whatever, right? Whatever they call it, they want that down. And that's all fine and dandy when you put it on paper, but to actually execute it, you got to understand, like, to make things fast, you have to lean things out, right? Like you can't have a super fast engine and it be light as shit, right? Or
right, yeah, made of paper thin material,
right?
It's just not going to work.
Or like you can't have it fast and light and be durable at the same time. It's not going to happen, right?
What were the three things you said before? Like, there's three different things. Like, whoa, which way do you want it? Do you want it fixed, or do you want?
You want it fixed, or you want it working?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You want it fixed, or you want it working? Whoa, safe. Safety's not a part of this.
Yeah,
like
safety's not a part of this. Do you want it fixed, or do you want it reliable?
Right, and that's the problem I've been seeing is we want to go fast. We want to make things faster. We want to build parts quicker. We want to get this thing going, whatever. Which is all good and dandy, but it's what kind of goes back to that meme, like, I'm gonna need people to be really cool for a lot of shady shit real quick. You know?
Right, yeah. Right? Well, and there's a lot of other outside factors in it that people aren't understanding when they say, "Hey, we want this to be faster. Cut down your supply chain times."
Mm-hmm.
How? I mean, I can send as many emails to the vendor as possible, but if it's a single source vendor or it's like COVID times, right, when they couldn't get certain materials for computer chips, it's like I'm screaming into the void at this point. I can only do so much on my end. Once it gets to me, then I can streamline that aspect of it. But it's the getting it to me part that's the most difficult.
And I've seen this too in the manufacturing side of the house, where like we want to lean it out. We want to Six Sigma this thing. We want the throughput time, as they call it, to be as small as possible. That's cool, but the reason why it's taking so long is either A, the process is so new, we don't know what we're doing, or the people who are doing the process don't know what they're doing, or we have to stop because we want to ensure this thing meets a certain level of acceptable quality. And I think that's the part that people miss. We're like, well, we'll accept the risk. Like, well, do you though?
So you're right, because I'm seeing a lot of that recently too, where they're like, yeah, we can probably forego this extra step. We can instead of doing a full-on pre-flight now, a through flight's just as good as a pre-flight. And you're like, I mean, yes, there's some things that are checked more thoroughly on a pre-flight than just a through flight. but we want to again, back to the mission readiness time. We want to be turn and burn and get this thing back in here as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, my existing engineering release doctrine states that I have to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're willing to accept the risk. Great. Go ahead and put that in writing.
Yes.
And oddly enough, our customer came back and was like, here you go. Here's it in writing.
Right.
Cool. Remember that shit, though, when something goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that this piece of paper exists, because I definitely have a copy of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that kind of stuff. But you can only, like you were saying, we were talking a little bit offline, you can only streamline so much before we're really having the opposite effect of what we're going for. Like, you streamline so much, you create more problems, and use manufacturing as an example. And remember, at one point in time in the production process, we were every so many production steps was an inspection, and then we'd do so many more steps, and then inspection, and then so many more in inspection. Then when it was all done and put together, they did one final check to make sure everything was good. Then it was sold off.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, well, if we have to do that full-on test at the end, let's just skip all these steps along the way,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll just test everything at the end. So that should speed up the production process time. Okay, but what happens if we find these problems at the end? We'll just fix them then. But it's easier to fix now.
Right.
It's easier to fix now when it's not buried under an entire aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
It's exposed now. We can fix it now. Well, what if we fix it? What if we have a problem now and we fix it and it has a problem later? Well, then there's probably something more you got to dig into, right now. But they said no. So, okay. So the thing with quality is you pay for it now or you pay for it at the end.
Yes.
So what did we end up doing at the end? I think you remember this. I think on one of them we did 3 or 4 ATPs, or acceptance test procedures, on the full airframe, because it just kept having so many problems that should have been caught on subsystems throughout the whole production process.
Right.
So the time you thought you were saving, you didn't really save much, because it had to be accounted for at the end. We fix one, tear it apart, fix one thing, put it back together. Oh, okay, that part works. This broke though. Oh, God. All right, tear it back apart, put it back together.
Right. And that's a very good point. And like, your cost of quality is whatever you either pay for it when you see it, or it adds up over time, right? Like, the more you ignore it, the more it's just gonna compound and gain interest when you actually do have to pay for it. Another example I've been seeing is like with going back to the training piece, right? We just speed you through it as efficiently as possible. We're only gonna have this acceptable aptitude level for you to come in, right? So we want you to be able to absorb things so fast. We're only going to have this kind of candidate, and so on and so forth, which is fine and great. Like, if they can learn fast or whatever. The problem is when you either raise the aptitude so they have 100% chance of passing, or you lower the level to where anybody can pass, your overall quality is going to take a dump.
Yeah, exactly. If we're just pushing it through at this point,
right?
Then the end product has to be understood that it's going to be of a lesser quality.
Right.
And the customer needs to be aware of that as well.
Right. And that's kind of like the thing we put out to all of you out there. Like, what is acceptable for you to take, right? Are you okay with just paying like Audi prices for a hoopty? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or are you okay with paying Audi prices? It takes a while and you actually get a no shit Audi. You know what I mean?
And using an example of that, right, on the one program I support now, production keeps having these pop fasteners, like the quarter turn fasteners. They keep, when they pressurize the system, it kept popping that bay, so it kept popping those panels off on that, those fasteners off on that panel. So it'd be like, if there's 20 fasteners for the panel, like 8 of them were popping every time, and they'd have to reset them and do all this stuff, and then they kept popping. And I kid you not, engineering comes back is like, well, we'll just tape over them and just let's get through this test process. And once it gets to the operation side of the house, they'll just fix it out there, because that's been the name of the game, right? They've skipped so many things in the name of speeding it up to meet delivery schedules. They just jump over things and get the customer to say, hey, just accept it. Once you guys buy it and it's in your hands, your O&S crew will fix it. Because that's what's been happening, and we fix it right the first time.
Right.
What should have been done before is done once it's already sold off. But I'm surprised, and the customer's going, "Oh my gosh, just give me the thing.
Mhm.
I paid for it. I want it. It's 4 or 5 months behind schedule. Just give it to me so these guys can fix it and I can use it."
Right.
But really, I wish the customer would come back and go, "I'm not buying it until it's acceptable." And I always use everybody, like when you go to a dealership
Mhm.
and buy a car and you look at it, and if it's all dirty, right? If it's all dirty, or has scratches on it or whatever else, I'm not buying that.
Right.
Well, just buy it, and then our service techs over here will fix it.
Right.
Where's my guarantee in that?
Exactly.
Why can't they just fix it now then if it's already known? Why do I have to buy it? I feel like you're trying to pull the wool over my eyes, and as soon as I sign the paperwork, you're going to go, "Ha, nerd, this
Right.
is your problem now."
Yeah, that's exactly we're vibing at this point. We're really vibing. Our brains are connecting. So imagine like paying brand new price for a used car. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's clearly looked like it's been used, right?
Yeah, it's got low miles on it. I'm like, I don't know. I watched Matilda. I watched Danny DeVito turn back the odometers and that. I know some shady crap can happen,
Right. And then imagine paying brand new prices. Like this is a brand new car, like, and it's beat up, right? It looks beat up. I'm like, well, what's up with that? I'm like, oh, don't worry, just buy it first, and then we'll fix it later. Like that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
I can understand, if it's like a service recall, like, hey, we've noticed this problem over time and we'll fix it. Lots, I get that. But like just flat out say like, well, that happened because, like the guy grinding or whatever the hell he was doing when he was making the thing slipped or some shit, right?
Yeah.
Just it's cool. Don't worry about it. It's not gonna affect fit, form, or function, as they say. I'm like, no.
So I always challenge them when they say that. Well, it's not okay. Great, sign it off then.
Yeah.
Sign it off, Mr. Engineer. And they're like, well, we said it's good. Put that in an email,
Right.
or sign the official forms. No, I'm not signing the forms. Great, put it in an email.
Right.
Put it in an email, then that it doesn't affect, and then your phone starts ringing, and it's that engineer or whomever in management, and you're like, "Hello," and you're like, "I just told you it was good to go in the last meeting. I don't care what you said verbally.
Mhm.
I want it in writing, so I have that as viable evidence that the engineer or somebody in management said we're willing to accept this.
Mhm.
Move on with your life.
Right.
I just need that to fall back on in case something goes sideways."
Mhm.
And then they start going, "Well, maybe we should look into it a little bit more." I'm
Right.
like,
And I've seen that mentality most prevalent with general aviation, because we had some guests over that said like the ultimate authority is the owner, which is true. The ultimate owner is the authority, and you're the god sign of. However, comma. Oh
Right.
God, I hate saying that. I need to stop that. However, you're the last person to touch base with that. So when things go wrong, they're not going to ask the owner what they did wrong. They're going to say who was the last one to have some
Right.
awareness to this, right?
Yep.
And then they're going to say, well, did they tell you this? And of course, the owner is going to save their ass and say, no, I did not see that.
Yeah. So what we've started doing, right, when they say, "Hey, we're just going to push it to operations and fix." Now, for that to happen, the customer does have to buy it off.
Mm-hmm.
They have to approve that, put it on the traveler paperwork. You experience all that paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, them saying, "Okay, we understand these things still need to be
Mm-hmm.
completed on this to officially green up the aircraft."
Right.
All right, fine, whatever. They accept it, bring it out, we'll fix it. However, once it's delivered, we and the sale paperwork is finalized, we then from the operations side will go and do a full-on inspection
Mm-hmm.
of that airframe, and we'll look everything over, and any findings we have or anything that falls outside of your maintenance manual or engineering drawings or whatever else, we put on a AIDR, an acceptance inspection deficiency report.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our official way. We're still going to be the ones to fix it on our end. So it's not like we're alleviating ourselves from that. And it might even still be our own budget that we're paying for those repairs out of, or the customer's paying for those repairs out of. They've accepted, but we file that paperwork and send it back to the production and the customer gets a copy as well, just saying, "Hey, just so you know, we found these things and other things
Mm-hmm.
that weren't on there," which happens a lot. They'll try to accept these couple of big things, and then we'll see if we can skate these other things through. And we're like, no, we found all these things. Here you go, fix it. They're not going to. It's unfortunate to say, in the many times that I've done this over the last few years, doesn't do anything. nobody jumps through from the beginning side of the production process to try to make positive changes. But it's our record of saying you guys are continually leaving us giving us a unfinished product when you should be giving us a finished product.
Right. And then I feel this kind of goes into with the people doing the work themselves, right? And that's a good transition point, because we were seeing this article that was talking about the shortages of mechanics in general, right? So we're not only having these issues of stuff when it's already made by the people doing it, we're having problems with the people doing the doing.
Well, yeah. We're losing experience,
right? Because let's face it, man. Like when we came in, we were fresh. We were the youngest kids on the block. But as we trickled upwards, there's been less of the people filling the voids that we vacated. And we've been saying this for 5 years now, that, like we predict this is going to happen. And it only got worse because of all the COVID stuff. But there hasn't been a fill to get that solved. And this kind of leads into our side of the house, where we have to do double duty, where we have to not only manage what we're going through, but also do the work.
Right.
And it's good that there's some attention to this, but the problem that we've been seeing is that they're very slow to react to actually come up with a solution.
Yeah, because as we said before, you're making it work. So they're cool. The pressure's off because we're still making our deliverables to the customer as we've said we would in our contract, and we're still meeting these minimum requirements or whatever. However, that's got a life limit on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it can only last for so long. And they're saying, well, hopefully it'll last long until we can bring some people in. But then that ties back into the speeding up of things and the training, which is, okay, now the training is like a week long of like 30,000 foot gen fam, and then you're released to the wild and expected to perform as if you have in-depth knowledge and experience on that particular airframe or set of airframes.
Right.
My first job, and you worked at that company too, for all of its flaws, had one of the best onboarding training programs for maintenance I've ever seen. It was, I think, 6 or 8 weeks long, and it was, 8 to 10 hour days. And it was, you went over every inch of that airframe. You took the gear out, you took the wings off, you took engines off, you took the engines apart and did the inspections that you would be doing in the field for those certain. Then you'd put it all back together. Then you'd put the engine back in, you'd reinstall wings, you'd put it up on stand, you'd learn how to swing gear, you'd learn how to use the computer to plug into that airframe and to control all those things, right? To test or finishing off maintenance inspections as you would be doing once you're released to the floor. So when you got out of training, you were dangerous enough because you had at least done everything once,
right? That
you would be doing in maintenance. But other places I've worked at, again, was a week of Gen Fam, do your initial FOD, fire fighting, fire extinguisher training, eye wash, bloodborne pathogens, all those kind of, and then boop, get out there. You're good to go. Well, I've never worked on this airframe. Well, read the manual. Well, the manual is written to somebody who if you're military, a 7 level, right? But if you're not military, somebody who's got minimum of a decade's worth of experience on that particular airframe, and release and expect to know all those things. It doesn't work that way,
right? Or you get some of the manuals that they're so old. They're basically hieroglyphics at this point.
Yeah.
Like they're so irrelevant now that even using the manual, like, well, this doesn't apply because this doesn't exist anymore, or they changed this out, but the manual has been updated or kept up with because who the hell cares, right? Time is money and all this and that. So you're kind of having to use basic GemFan to figure out a very complex system, which doesn't work, right? So there's that issue as well. And that kind of goes back to like the speed thing where like we just want to speed through these people so we have air quotes licensed individuals to do this, but their actual applicability to the system is just so minimal, like they're functionally useless.
You're right, yeah.
So that's been a big problem that we've been seeing, and it's good that it's being addressed, but the problem is there hasn't been much effort to fix it. Um, and I believe that kind of boils down to not only the companies who bring these people on, it also boils down to us as mechanics to actually like put that knowledge out there, which is something that we seriously lack. Pilots have been doing a good job at it because it's the sexy thing, right? Everyone likes that idea of going fast and doing pilot things, even though majority of people don't do that.
Right.
Most of their stuff is really boring, right? Like the only cool part is taking off and landing, and everything else is like,
Yeah, or if you're in a big bird, it's autopilot, right?
right,
So you take off and then you hit a button and you're kind of like, well, where's my coffee?
right. Like the only fun part is the view, right? That's the only exciting part. For some people, that's the cool thing, right? By all means, do it. But for everything else, like being a flight attendant, being a mechanic, it's not the sexy thing. It's kind of like the alternative to being smart, for lack of better words, right? Like you can either be smart or you can do this, and I think that's been the problem with bringing people on is like you kind of like boil them down to like, well, you're either smart or you're not, and smart people do this, therefore you do this, and that kind of hinders bringing people on, for instance, and it also hinders like their progression of things, which is that whole just speed you through, get you in, and then we'll figure it out from there.
So what's interesting is my son's football coach used to work where I work at. For he said he was there maybe 8 months, and I said, "Oh, why'd you leave so soon?" He said because of the training. He goes, or more specifically, a lack thereof. He goes, we were given almost zero training. He goes, I mean, everybody in my hiring class or whatever, didn't have any prior aviation experience. We all applied to entry level positions. He goes, but they didn't give us any training on what we would be expected to do. It was like a brief overview, and then they say get to work. But then he goes, but it would take forever because we were trying to figure it out as we were doing it, or we'd do it and it would be wrong. The inspector would come through and be like, nope, redo it. And so we would go through several of those iterations, and then management would come down, what's taking so long? This and that and the other. And he's like, I'm getting chastised for something I was never shown how to do. I applied to an entry level position. How am I being berated for my lack of knowledge on this? It's literally in my job, entry level. So he's like, he goes, man, I'm not about to be a scapegoat for something to go bad around here. Right. So he moved on to it.
And I think there's a problem with us as well, because like like the fallback we'd say like, well, you gotta reach out and learn from somebody, right? Like bug people, do this and that, which is all fine and dandy, right? But to one example I can fall back on, which is one of the students who reached out to us, like people just don't have time. You know what I mean? Like they're on a time crunch, they have to get things going. I mean, they'll try their best, but the most you can do is just do enough mistakes to osmosis the right way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, companies look at it only from a time. I'm losing time because by sending people to training. Okay, well, legal says that we have to provide training to these employees because otherwise the company can be held liable for negligible actions or whatever the case may be, lack of training therefore. So everybody goes, fine, just do this.
Right.
Fine, whatever it is, just do it. I don't want them over there all this time. Figure it out to get them onto the floor faster. Okay, great. Here we go. Here's our training. 2 days? 2 days of training? Or no, a week? No, not too long. Okay, I've got it down to 3 days. Oh my God, 3 days?
Right.
Oh, I've got it down to a day. That's too long. I can't get the material done in any less time.
Right.
That you're telling me, or legal's telling me that we have to provide. It has to be at least a day.
Right.
Fine. Do it on orientation day. Well, they have other stuff to do on orientation day. I said orientation day,
Right. And then that's, yeah. And then also for the senior people, right? Like a lot of times we just kind of assume that they know what they're doing, or we just kind of write them off. Like, you don't know what you're doing. Don't work with me kind of thing, right? I only want someone who kind of just gets it on the fly. Right. Or it's easy to pick up, which I fall into that trap myself. Like, okay, you're not helpful. Just go do something low energy, like go grease something, or go fod walk or whatever the hell. Which is a bad part on us because that's doing a disservice to both ourselves in the long run and disservice to them because now they're like, well, fuck this. I'm never coming here. I'm never going to work aviation again. And then now they're going to sour all the good people because of the experiences they had.
Right, where they've got a bad perspective of me because every time I go to manage the manager and say, hey, I need the training for this, and they go tell me to talk to the lead, and the lead's like, yeah, man, I'll get to you when I can get to you.
Right.
Everybody's just blowing me off around here. Nobody gives me the time, and you're like, maybe as the lead mechanic, you're like, well, dude, I want to give you the time, but I've also got to get this crap done over here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who trained you? Well, back when I started, we actually had the training plan like I talked about. Well, how come they don't have that now? I don't know why they got rid of it.
Right.
I don't know. I don't have that answer, but they got rid of it and they put it on me. However, me also has to make this happen in the same time as training you. So dragging you along with me, but forgive me if I can't spend 40 minutes explaining why we do this particular test.
Right.
Let's get this thing off the ground first, and then I'll tell you.
Right. And then I think to kind of circle all this, to kind of corral all this together is like there needs to be a better communication between the guys, like the touch labor and the bean counters. Like this is the cost of everything, and this is how it's gonna pay off in the long run. Right. I know you want to go fast. I know you want to dial things down to make it like as instant as possible. But we need to have a little bit of realism here. Like, yes, I want you to have your pizza within 10 minutes or less, but just understand, it takes 10 minutes to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great one. Okay. Let's use the pizza analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Great. We can have a pizza in 10 minutes or less. But that comes back to the supply chain. Well, we're going to start using artificial tomatoes or whatever to make the pizza sauce so we can make it faster.
Right.
All right. So the artificial tomato, half of it's made of a plastic now, but that's the only way we can get it to make your stuff faster.
Mm-hmm.
So we start losing the quality of the ingredients to a certain degree,
right?
Because we want pizza in 10 minutes,
right?
And it kind of applies over to the aerospace thing. Well, what are we losing by trying to expedite so much,
right? And personally, I would rather have the good quality stuff that takes a little bit, but that's going to pay dividends in the long run. I understand that costs more. I understand for a leadership standpoint that might not be the best thing for the moment, but it's also like, were you going to pay for it now or are you going to pay for it in the long run? And the longer it takes to pay out, the more interest it's going to gain for a critical mass. You know what I mean?
I think what people lose too in that regard, and I say people, I mean the bean counters, is like, yeah, it might take a little bit longer over the next 4 months while we get everybody up to speed on what needs to happen early on in this chain of events.
Mm-hmm.
But once everybody is up to speed and we've got some time under our belts and some fidelity with the process and how things are supposed to be done, then at month 6, man, we're just rolling through, right? We've sped up again. So we had to slow down a little bit to kind of get our bearings and get everybody up to speed. And here's the end goal, and here's how we're going to do it, and here's how this needs to happen. And once everybody has that understanding, then it just becomes a smoother process because people in the know. We're not just constantly piecemealing the process together, pulling step 8 and dropping it back to step 4 because at step 4, the piece of equipment we needed is over. We only have one of, and it's over on another bird who should have been out the door 6 months ago, and XYZ things, right? And everything just gets
right. And then I think that's also something that, because everyone always likes to say like, oh, I'm a good manager of time. I'm a project this. I'm a lean expert or whatever the case may be. That's all fine and great. But you also, I would say, like, when you project your timelines, you should also factor in a little, like actually a lot of slip, right? To factor in like, this is how much it's going to take to spool people up
right
on this and that, right? Because if you bake that into your project, kind of like overestimate, but what's the phrase again? You know what I mean? Like under promise, over deliver, or something like that.
I almost said over promise, under deliver, but I think it's under promise and over deliver.
Right. It's like, oh, it's gonna take 18 weeks. Like, holy crap, 18 weeks, right? And then you show up like 3 days later. Oh my god, that was quick, right?
Yeah. Right. Now that has its own implications. But if you say, hey, it's going to take me 4 weeks. And you're like, really? 4 weeks? That's a tight timeline. You're not really giving yourself any leeway there.
Right.
Nope, I can get it done. If the planets align
Yeah.
and all the holes in the Swiss cheese line up,
Right.
yes, that is the quickest it can get done.
Right.
But history has shown us repeatedly that we cannot do it in that time frame for whatever reason.
So
why?
I've actually been hearing this one. This actually came from down the pipe from a couple bosses ago. They say, stop saying no, but instead say yes, if. I'm kind of sort of against that because when this kind of goes into the language of things. When someone says no, but that instantly turns negative. But when you say yes, if, they don't hear the if part. They just hear the yes. Like, oh, okay, so let's go guns blazing, right? Or gas the floor.
Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of enabling bad attitude, if you ask me, right? Like, yes, if I have all these parts. Yes, if I have this time. Yes,
Yeah.
but which I understand the positivity of making it sound like I can get the job done, but 9 times out of 10, nobody hears the if. They just hear the yes.
Correct. And I think that's maybe we had talked about this on the last episode with those gentlemen, but I think in those instances, you got to take out the yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, can you get this done? If I have this equipment.
Right. Just go straight to the if, right?
Yeah.
Give me the bad part up front, right?
Well, when do you need that equipment by? I would need it by, Thursday morning at the latest. It's Monday afternoon,
right?
2 p.m. or whatever.
And I get the reason why that sounds bad to leadership, like yes if, right, or no but. Again, going back to the language of things, when someone hears yes if, they instantly tune out the bad parts, right? But if I get the bad part up front, it at least preps my brain like, okay, there is a problem, here's the solution. Kind of like just like any type of problem solving thing. You get the problem first and then you have a solution. But if you get the solution first and then the problem second, they tune out everything else and they just go straight to the solution.
Well, that ties in with risk management. And honestly, what another wormhole of a subject to go down through and all this kind of stuff, because that's exactly what risk management is supposed to be. You're supposed to identify those things that have the potential to
go wrong,
and then also opportunities. Hey, we can increase our timeline or reduce the time it takes to do this thing if we put money or effort or whatever towards this thing now.
Right.
But nobody does risk management properly.
Right.
Because risk management is money typically, and nobody wants to. Well, let's just wait and see if it hits us in the face. I don't want to wait for that. I don't want to be hit in the face. I don't know when's the last time you were hit in the face, but I don't want to be hit in the face.
Right. Like that's not something I'm cool with in any scenario.
Yeah, why be reactive when we could be proactive?
Right. And so for all the people with decision-making authority here, I would say to you, like, you need to invite all the voices into the table, regardless if their input is minimal, because you never know, like that one little nugget of knowledge can be the make or break point, right? It doesn't sound that much, but maybe it's a non-issue, who knows? But you never know. And you also got to be understanding that you got to have a little bit of realism into your understanding. The whole yes if thing sounds cool, but what it's really doing is you're just disguising, you're creatively avoiding the problem. You know what I mean? Like, well, yes if, but no, but just hear the problem up front. Understand that there's going to be a problem and absorb it.
Yeah, and that's I think that comes from people not wanting to upset their boss.
Right.
And I get it. I've been guilty of it too, right? Nobody wants to be the one to deliver bad news, but I think we all get to a point in our careers where we stop caring as much about their emotional response to it and just give them the facts. Like, you can feel however way you want to feel about the situation, but the reality of it is that this cannot happen until this happens. So, but I understand trying to church up the language a little bit, but it's more now. It's like, well, they say they need this tomorrow. Well, I can wish in one hand and shit in the other too, and see which one fills up first. Like, we told you 6 months ago that we needed another air start cart because production's been borrowing the operation side of one. Well, operational pace has picked up, and production, why aren't they going and buying their own? Well, they don't have the money for it. Okay, well, our priority is this mission, so we need the cart for this. But production's saying they need their priority is delivery. tell production to go buy one. Then, like, we told you this 6 months ago. Why has nobody taken the steps? So, okay, is there one on order and it's just back ordered? No, nobody ordered it.
Right. And from a business point of view, I can understand the FOMO behind things, and I think that's what it really comes down to is the FOMO of competition, or the fear of missing out on a competitive edge. Get it, fully 100% get it. I would challenge that mindset. Is like, well, don't forget that when you hone down for a competitive edge, you got to lean stuff out. You know what I mean? And what it really boils down to is like, what are you willing to sacrifice to get that edge, right? And this is where it kind of boils down to like, what is your ultimate goal for things? If your goal is to make money, man, you're gonna make a lot of money, but you're gonna lose a shitload in the long run.
Well, or will you make a lot of money?
Right, or will you? Right,
or will you?
And this is kind of like where I lean onto the small business side of things. For instance, pizza. Right, since I'm on the subject of food, right, you can have a small joint that doesn't get a whole lot of voice, doesn't get a whole lot of presence, but they're freaking amazing, right? So the people who actually do show up know they're getting fucking great pizza, right?
Right.
So they know for sure they're going to get returning customers. And then if they just put the word out, eventually more comes and you can expand and whatever the hell have you, right? So I would say for like the big corporations, you need to have like a small business mindset where like every little decision can make or break what you're doing. And usually that starts with like, what am I willing to do and what am I willing to sacrifice? And you kind of have to switch your brain a little bit to think of the problem first before the yes if or whatever the case may be.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so ending this all, right, kind of closing this all up together. We talked about the training piece. We talked about the speed to ramp. I'm going to say that for now just because that's the kind of go-to. Yeah. And then we're talking about the shortage of things such as mechanics and just overall with leadership. So you gotta understand, what are you willing to have? What are you willing to sacrifice? Where your gaps are, and then properly addressing that thing, because you can't address the problem if you don't know what the problem is, right?
Right.
And a lot of times, it's coming from a voice you're not readily available to hear, right? Or you're not willing to hear,
or not willing to accept anyway.
Yes, bingo. So with that said, Mr. MVP, any final thoughts on anything so far?
I understand streamlining and what do they call it? Value stream mapping.
Yes.
Right. Which removing redundant steps or additional excess steps out of there. But while doing so, be cognizant of what you cut now. Can that come back and be added on later on? If skipping that now, I would just say I think value stream mapping, streamlining is a good thing. You just need to be cognizant of which parts you're doing, or how can you take that one step but improve just that one step to be more streamlined, right? Maybe the whole process doesn't need ultimately streamlined, but that one particular step that you want to just cut out now, what within that can be improved upon to improve the whole process, right?
Right.
Might not be the whole process that's a problem. It could just be these one or two steps that need revamped.
Yes.
And I would say it's worthwhile taking a stab at those.
Right. And I'll also put out to everybody else out there, right? It all boils down to who's going to accept the risk, right? It's either one or the other. It's either you, the individual, you, the company, you, the organization, or B, your customer.
Yeah.
And most times the customer's willing to do so, but
yeah, I think it depends on who your customer is and what kind of pockets they got,
Bingo. And that's something, that's a dice roll every single time. You know what I mean? They can accept it one time, but not the other. It always boils down to like, if you're willing to accept the risk, then do the work. If you're willing to let the customer accept the risk, then don't do the work. Whatever. Right? We're all about making things efficient and making things streamlined, making things work better to be better. But sometimes, like we get a little bit of horse blinder, where in trying to be better, we end up being worse.
Yeah. But something else to consider is, okay, we're going to get the customer to accept the risk, but they're not going to get back to you today, not even tomorrow, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So you're losing while you're waiting for them to say yay or nay. You've just lost however many days that could have been devoted to fixing it. Yeah, but we're not. We might have saved dollars because we didn't end up having to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
But what if they say they don't accept the risk? What the only thing, then you lost your schedule
Mm-hmm.
and dollars. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
now you have to go and spend dollars fixed, but you also killed your schedule by however many days because you're behind when you could have just. So initially you were just losing dollars. Now you've lost dollars in schedule.
Right.
You know, I don't know.
Yep. But hey, let us know what you guys think. Like, what sort of stuff that we hit that actually ring home? What sort of solutions have you seen happen that could be integrated everywhere else? Are we just full of shit and you guys, and we're just talking on our ass?
Probably a little bit of all of it.
Probably all of it, right? But let us know what you think. Tell us in the comments and our social medias, our emails, our website, whichever. The absolute best way to have this kind of conversation with us and give us some of these insights is through our Discord channel on Patreon. All our patrons out there, you've been so helpful and loyal to us. We appreciate you for all the feedback and support you've been giving us. And then for those out there, you want to support this channel, support this podcast, support us giving this knowledge out to everybody else and have these kind of conversations. Hey, sign up for Patreon and have these Discord conversations with us. On that note, hey, we appreciate you for joining us. We'll see you again on the next one. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. We'd like to take a moment to give a heartfelt shout out to our fantastic patrons. Your unwavering support is the magic behind the show, helping us produce thrilling episodes, keep our gear in top shape, and create awesome merch just for you. With special shout outs going to SaKonna, Eric Shaw, Kiel K, Daniel Liang, Mike Sherwood, Caleb Stockdale, Carm M, Dan Schubert, and Ryan Freshour. Thank you all so much for your support and your patronage. If you enjoy our show, why not join our Patreon community? You'll unlock a whole slew of perks, including access to our private Discord community, special discounts, early board access to our merch, and front row seat to our sneak peeks of our comics and other projects. And if you're feeling adventurous, don't forget to strut your stuff as an aviation aficionado by visiting our store at cancelformaintenance.com. For those who appreciate a touch of class or rugged charm, check out our affiliate at Rockwell Time at rockwelltime.com. Use the code CX4MX for 10% off your total order. If you need a headset, be it for in the aircraft or on the ground, or just need better ways to preserve your hearing, visit Dalcom Tech at dalcomtech.com. Got a burning topic or you'd like to be a guest on the show? Drop us a line on our contact us section at cancelformaintenance.com. We're all ears, and we're eager to bring your ideas to life. Stay connected with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook at Cancel for Maintenance, or you can follow us on Instagram and Threads at Canx, that's CANX, for Maintenance Podcast. Lastly, be sure to check out our comics on the Tapas app. We might just be the only webcomic focused on aircraft mechanics. Like, share, subscribe, and leave us your thoughts. Thank you all again for being the great community that you are. Your support means the absolute world to us, and we can't wait to catch you all on the next episode. Until then, keep them flying.